Yeah,
I
now that we
really
got
feel
that.
like
What?
I feel like the East is the conference that has the top two, not the West. Like the last pot, like on the West one, you were like, oh, it's the top two, and then everybody else. I feel like that's the East, not the West.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the drop off in the East is kind of ridiculous.
You can respond after the music, Sean.
and Sean, and listening to that East Coast bias over here with the East Coasters. I think I'm more West than both of you, so I'm going to be putting on my West Coast hat and standing up for the West Coast as having the two best teams in the league. Uh, but we've got the East, so we're going to start off with Atlanta in alphabetical order. 41.5 wins is their over under. Last year they had 41. They're in your division, Marcus. How are you feeling about them?
I've definitely taken the under on them. There's just not. There's some teams that I will just always be low on, and the Hawks, for some reason, are just them. I just don't believe in Trey Young. I think that getting DeJounte Murray as a supplement piece was very short-sighted with running the duo perimeter. I don't think that they have anything that can contend with the centers or the forwards in the East where you're gonna have to play through. And I just think they're a shitty team. I am high on Okongu though. I do like
I
Onyeka. Other than that,
I
I
don't
have nothing.
know if I would go as far as to call them a shitty team, but I'm also with the under. I don't believe in Trey Young. Supposedly this is the year he's going to finally do some off-ball stuff, and if this is the year that happens, then they'll win more than 42. They'll win 42 games, and the over will hit. But until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. So I've got the under also.
I took them at the under, just 41 wins straight up, same as last year. That's the under according to that one. I love Okongwu. I I'm still TBD on the whole Trey Young, Dejounte Murray thing. Uh, we'll see, but they're middling. They're just making the playoffs in the East, so nothing to write home about with them. Let's move on to a more interesting team. We've got the Boston Celtics. 54.5 wins is their over under. Last year they had 57. Uh, Personally, I have them over slightly at 55 wins. I think they're going to be the number 2 seed in the East going into the playoffs. Uh, it's right around what they did last year. Trey, as somebody who lives with a Boston Celtics fan, how are you treating them this year?
Oh, I've definitely got an over. I think even losing as many pieces as they have, they still have enough chemistry between the Jays, Horford, all the defense that this team is going to be able to throw out there. I think is going to be suffocating, especially on a regular season basis. I've got them like you around 50. I think I had them at 56, but I've got them definitely winning 55 games. I also have them finishing as the best team in the East this year. I think they'll be the 1 seed.
Marcus, how are you feeling about the Boston Celtics?
I have them at the over. I actually have them winning 60 games. I just
Whoa!
Yeah, I just think that all the pieces that they added, and just with the chip of their shoulder of how they went out last season, that it's their conference to lose personally, and it hurts to say that, but just after the off season that they had, and just for narrative purposes, no, they got it. Yeah, I
Is
don't.
this a reverse jinx?
Look at the two of you. I've got them second. Trey's just fallen so hard off of the Bucks spoilers. Uh, just couldn't believe that when you said that in the chat. Um, but yeah, Boston, I have them as the number 2 seed. I can't wait to hear Caleb just absolutely lose his mind at the who I have as the number 1 seed. It's just going to be all kinds of gifs and images of stats, and it's just going to be fun. But let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets, a team that is going to have a very different record than they did last year. 37.5 wins is their over under, 45 from last year. Vegas already knows. Vegas already knows. Marcus, where do you come down on the Brooklyn Nets?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with the under on this. I am a big fan of Mikhail and Cam. I just think that, like you said, there's there's a big drop off in the Eastern Conference, and unfortunately, Brooklyn is privy on the wrong side of that.
Trey, how are you feeling about Brooklyn?
I also have the under for them. I think they'll want to compete. They're just not going to have the talent. I think Bridges is best served in that number 2 role. Not that he's not talented. It's really hard to be a number 1 option, and I think we're seeing that with him. We saw it with Jaren. We've seen it with numerous guys over the years. Yeah, I've just got the under.
I'm with you, the under as well. I've got them at 30 wins. They're outside of the playoffs. It's just going to be a tough season for Brooklyn from the highs of last year to the lows of this year. It's sad to see. It's not what you wanted at all. But now we're on to another depressing team, the Charlotte Hornets.
I was going to say, speaking of sad to see, I can't even find their little layout thingy.
31.5 is their over under. Yeah, I'm under on them. They are the second worst team in the East. I've got them at 25 wins. That's all I want to talk about with that. Marcus, where do you stand on the Charlotte Hornets?
I got them under. But I don't know. I still don't think Brandon Miller was the right decision in the long term. I mean, it might be different for me since I don't live in the city of Charlotte as one of my compatriots.
No.
But I just think it's a dysfunctional organization, and if any team would probably get moved, it's probably going to have to be the Charlotte. It's probably going to be the Hornets.
I think Brandon Miller is going to look a lot better with NBA spacing. I don't know if you two saw the highlight from his dunk he had, that shows off kind of his athleticism. I think he'll be okay. I like him next to LaMelo. But he's not gonna be able to show off his skills if he doesn't have NBA players around him. And with Bridges continuing to get in trouble, I think he should just get kicked out of the league at this point if that's found out to be true, which we have no reason to doubt that it will be at this point. Fuck that guy. And like Hayward, he's a walking bandage. I love Mark Williams. I think he's a great center, but I'm under. I'm not feeling this team this year either.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what Vegas was smoking, putting 31.5 wins as their over-under. Like, they didn't.
Well, I mean, it might be lower after the Bridges news, but at that point, Bridges was coming back.
Even with Bridges, I don't think they're that good. Chicago Bulls, your team, Trey.
I've got the over.
37.5 wins. Last year they had 40. You got the over there?
Yeah, once the Bulls got Patrick Beverley, once they got a real point guard on the roster, they won like their winning percentage was the equivalent of like a 46 win team, 47 win team or something like that. They're going to have Javon Carter, which is a better Patrick Beverley from the start this year. I think Kobe White's been a lot better. Patrick Williams has continued to take a leap on the defensive end, and if we have a real point guard, he looks a lot better. He looks better the second half. I just believe in the Bulls team. I'm a bit of a homer. It is what it is. But I've got them over the 30. I think they'll win at least 38 games.
I respect that. Marcus, how are you feeling about Chicago?
I don't know too much, but I do know that all the issues do stem from the lack of having a point guard. I do love Javon Carter. I do think Patrick Beverley is. I wouldn't say he's underrated, but he's definitely one of those players. He's definitely one of those point guards that don't get enough sung about how great that they are and how well they are for chemistry and building just building continuity for teams, and I think that's something that your team seems to be missing a little bit of, if I'm not mistaken, Trey. So, I mean, I think it's a good pick. You have that. You have the young talent that's growing. You have depth on your defense. I mean depth on your bench. What's there not to like?
No, I am an over. I have them at 42 wins. I think they are going to improve off of last year. I it's going to be it's a tough middle in the East, so they're going to be in the play-in area, but they're gonna win more games than they did last year. I think it's a fantastic job. I love Javon Carter. Played forever at West Virginia. He looks way older than he actually is. Surprising how young he is, probably.
A member of the Greg Oden Club.
Yeah.
One of the teams we were all over on, and I have a feeling we're going to be the same on this next one.
Yeah, Cleveland Cavaliers over under 50.5. Last year they had 50. 51 last year.
Yeah, and that's what they have to get to hit the over.
I'm actually a slight under at 50.
I'm a little shook. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm over.
They are the 3 seed in the East. Top heavy, middle, large middle. Marcus, where do you stand on the Cavaliers?
I got him at like 52. I think that adding Max Strus is a great complementary piece for them to give them a little bit more scoring options since that they weren't getting what they wanted from Isaac Okoro. And I think that Evans Mobley, I'm optimistic he takes a step in the right direction offensively this season. So
yeah, I've got the over. Also, I think that Strus is going to be huge for them. They've been looking for a 3 forever. They'll have more chemistry. And after the way the playoffs ended, I think they're going to be looking to prove something. I have them as the number 2 seed. I actually have them finishing with one more win. I think I had it penciled in as the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to take some time to gel, given up that they gave up Holiday. And I have the Cavs pushing and finding a way to squeak past them in the regular season. So I'm pretty high on the Cavs this year.
Yeah, it's you both are. I think they're going to be around the same as what they did last year. So I got them at 50 wins. It's but this next team, Detroit.
Speaking of teams that I'm high on,
Yeah.
last year they won 17 games. This year the over-under is 27.5, so they have to win 11 more games. They have to win 28 games to hit their over, and I'm taking it. Cade is going to play. Honestly, that's the key. If Cade plays this year, they're hitting that. If he doesn't play, they're not hitting that. But I believe that Cade is one of those special playmakers, and he's going to get to show it this year with all of that talent they have around him, and I am all in on the Pistons.
Marcus, are you there with us?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Trey might be delusional again. Listen, it's Detroit. It would be nice to see. I do like Sadiq Bey a lot, but I don't know. I'm just not as high on Cade as Trey is.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare I?
But also, in case Cade doesn't pan out, they've got Jaden Ivey. I am absolutely in love with their roster. I have them at 39 wins. They are making the play-in. They are. I will buy anything they're selling right now. I just want great things for Detroit. Everybody's gonna be like, just wondering what I'm smoking with this pick. 39 wins. Lock it in.
I'm right there with you, man. I've got them. What I have them at?
35, I think.
35.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had them also being the last team in the play-in. So the Detroit hype is real here on Charity Stripe.
Yeah, Marcus is just a hater. How dare he?
Another team. I mean, we're probably pretty high on this team too. If Joe has anything to say about it.
The Indiana Pacers over under 38.5. They had 35 wins last year. Marcus, where'd you come down on the Indiana Pacers?
I'm probably gonna go with the over on it. But Tyrese Halliburton is just so impactful. I think that this year he'll probably be top 6 or top 8, probably point guards in the league. Um, I just I believe in their system so much, and I think that Indiana is one of those teams that are always just super sneaky and just super low key. That everyone's taking the right directions that you just never hear about it publicly. So I'll probably say that I'll take the over on that.
Trey, you were pretty high on them.
Yeah, I've definitely got the over also. I think I had them at like 44 wins. I think they're going to be one of the best. I think they're probably going to have – did I have – not quite home court advantage in the first round, but pretty close to it. I love Halliburton. I'm all in on the team. I've got the over, and I think it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, so I've got them at 43 wins. I also have them at the over. They're kind of in the bottom half of the middle in the playoffs picture, but I believe play-in. Nope. Yep. First play-in spot, number 7. Just got to win one game. That's it. That's all they got to do. So then we've got the next team behind the Pacers. We have Marcus's Miami Heat. They are at 44.5 wins. They are the defending Eastern Conference champions. Marcus, where are you falling with the Heat?
I'm gonna go with the over. Honestly, yeah, I'll take the over on that. We got I might just be a homer, but we did add Thomas Bryant, which is a really good addition for us since we do have someone to put down there with Bam, and we actually do have a competent center now. I'm also high on Jaime, and not so much on Jovic, but we'll also have Tyler Hero, and I think that he is going to have a huge chip on his shoulder to prove after all the trade rumors going around between him and Dame. So, and Jimmy Butler's hurt, which I think also has to give us at least 2 more wins.
Trey,
I'm with you, Marcus. I'm gonna go over on the Heat. I love the Bryant addition. I think he's going to be great for Miami. I think he's going to work great in the system and give them something that they really need behind Bam. I think you're right about Hero. He's super undervalued, and as a regular season player, he has so much value. And Spo, like, I don't want to bet against Spo. I had them penciled in as the under, but I'm going to reverse course here, and I'm taking the over.
I have them in the 5 seed, but I only have them winning 44 games. So I have the slight under, but then I have them beating the 76ers in the first round of the playoffs. They're just going to coast. They're like the Lakers. They don't need to win too many games in the regular season, and I don't see them having the drive to do that. I think they're just gearing up for the playoffs where they're going to make another run again. So I love the roster. I love what they did in the offseason. Jaime Jaquez Jr., just, yes, my Triple J. Absolutely. But they're not going to win more than 44 games.
I love that he's your Triple J. Not Marcus's Triple J, but he's your Triple J.
Yeah, like, how are you going to claim him? How are you going to claim my player like that?
Well, I'm saying he's the one that I call Triple J.
How very white of you, Sean.
I'm appropriating. How dare I? We've got the Milwaukee Bucks. Trey has kicked the bandwagon to the side, lit it on fire, and given it double middle fingers.
Oh, you mean the team I'm picking to win the title?
What about the regular season, though? How dare you?
I mean, I think they're going to have some kinks to work out. I think that Brook Lopez is getting old. And I think they know as long as they have, they're avoiding the play-in, they'll be fine. I have them at like 51 wins, I think. So technically under, but I'm still all in on the Bucks and Giannis. But I do have the under. 54 wins is just a lot, I think, for a team that I think They got eliminated pretty early last year, but a team that's had a lot of miles on it. I don't know. I think they're going to start a little slow, and they'll really hit their stride. But I think they're gonna win 50 games, but not 54.
Marcus?
I have the under on this. I think that initially losing Drew is going to hurt them a lot more in the regular season initially. I think probably around post All-Star break, they'll probably start getting it together, but I don't see it going to be. I see they're going to have some kinks at first. So just with that, just with that being said, I think that just kind of disqualifies them from, over 54 games.
Well, I can understand both of you wanting to be wrong, but they're going to have 60 wins. They're going to win the East in the regular season. Playoff time, we'll see what happens in the second and third round. But it was just a bad matchup last year. That's it. Bad matchup. You got the wrong team in the 8th spot. It was a tough one, but I think they're going to be able to, switch off, give Giannis some rest. Dame shooting from all over. I think he's going to be renewed and revived. So I have them winning 60 games. I'm an over on them. And they're the number one seed.
I just think that their defense, I just think that they've lost their edge defensively in the perimeter. I think that losing Drew is just going to hurt them a lot more defensively than that's being accredited.
You guys keep talking about defense like it actually gets played in the regular season. It's a playoffs thing.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And they're going to get bounced in. They're not making it to the conference finals.
Yeah, I really thought that defensive line was a transition to the Knicks, so I went ahead and switched it over. But we're just going to roll with it because if any team plays defense in the regular season, I mean, it's my Bulls who finished with the top 5 rating, but it's a Thibs team. Let's be real.
Yeah. They're going to be worn out by the time they get to the playoffs. 45.5 wins, 47 last year. Marcus, where'd you land on the Knicks?
I'm gonna take the under. I see them taking a slight step back, but that's not really a bad thing per se. I think it's also one of the things where they're like, okay, we're actually a competent team. It's just making sure that we have all our pieces when we get there. I also do think that them losing Obi Toppin is going to hurt them a little bit in the front court.
Yeah, no, I think that was an excellent pickup by the Pacers. He is going to be somebody they're going to miss. I have them as a slight under as well at 44 wins. I have them in the 6th spot, and then I have them facing the Cavs first round again. So 44 wins for the Knicks. They're just trying to get to the playoffs. They're going to lose some games they should have won. And it's just going to be a classic Knicks season. Trey, where'd you land?
Oh, I've got the over. I think it's a great vibe season for them. It's Brunson and all of his college buddies getting together to hang out this year. Like
one last ride.
I mean, right. And think about like you and your buddies from like your early 20s. If you guys could all just hang out and run roughshod it. Like that's what the Knicks are getting ready to do. It's going to be such great vibes. Brunson's a natural leader. I've got the over. I'm all in on the Knicks in the regular season this year.
Question. Should the Knicks eye up Mikal Bridges?
Yes. I think that instead of them going for the fences, I think that getting a high number 2 will give them a lot more depth and give them a lot more flexibility going forward.
No, because to win a title, you're going to have to go through a Jokic, an Embiid, a Wemby before long. Like you're going to have some size, and I think if your best players are a guard and a wing, it's going to you got to find a big. You got to have a big. I feel like that can counter those guys, and I don't believe in that team as a. Let me rephrase it. Going against teams without a big, I don't think you can be defensive oriented without a dominant big, and win a title.
Okay.
I think you have to be offensive oriented like the Warriors if you're going to win a title without a dominant big.
Yeah, that's respectable. I guess Mitchell Robinson's probably not the big that you would think of when you think dominant big.
No, so like I don't think they should swing for Mikal Bridges, but if Luka becomes available, I think Luka is someone that they should bring in because I think offensively he could push them far enough ahead that Mitchell Robinson could be a good enough big to win them a title. But if Mikal Bridges is the person they bring in, I don't think he raises their offensive ceiling enough to where it makes a difference.
Excellent point. All right. Well, next we've got the Orlando Magic. They are, where did they land at? 37.5 wins, 34 last year. Marcus, this is your neck of the woods. Where'd you have the Magic?
I'm gonna go slightly over, probably at 38. I do like Paolo. I really like Paolo. I think that they also do have a good supporting system with Markel and France. And France, they were on the uptake last year. I think that they're making the right strides in the right direction, and I just see them building off of that.
Trey, how did you feel about the Magic?
I don't remember what I wrote down. I've got the under, but
I think he's.
I don't know.
34.
I don't like their. I love Paolo. I don't know that I like their. I like Cole Anthony and their point guard play enough. I've got them slightly under. You could talk me into the over very easily, but for me, I don't know. There's something about him. I have the under. It's probably my spitefulness from the Wendell Carter Vucevic trade, but I've got the slight under. However, I would avoid the bet itself, and I like what the Magic are building. I feel like they're going to have problems running the offense.
I hear you. I think like the piece for me, it might not be Cole Anthony per se as much as it is like Jalen Suggs for me. I think that was just, in hindsight, not probably the best pick for them.
No, I get that. Excellent points. Point guard is where they need to upgrade. I think they have some excellent pieces. I have them going at 37 wins, so a slight under. 38 is an excellent pick, Marcus. I can't argue with that. That's nickel and diamond there. So I think it's the point guard. If they can upgrade point guard, I think they're one of the teams that kind of sticks around with people a little longer than they should. They don't give up very easily on players, which can be a detriment to them. So if they can just get over their point guard problems and get rid of two of them and bring in somebody better, I think that'll be a lot. They'll get the over then that way. But 37 wins, that's where I have them. Just outside of the playoffs too, unfortunately. Next, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. I think we might have some differing opinions around here. 47.5 wins. I was shocked to see that number. That is really low from 54 wins last year. Do they think that highly of James Harden?
I mean, I feel like it was the best case scenario for Embiid also. Like Embiid was the MVP. Do we expect him to play in as many games as he played last season? That and the East has gotten better. So I went under, actually. I'm regretting it because I think Maxey is going to be better than I anticipated when I filled this out. But I don't know. 48 wins is a lot. I more see them in like the 46 range, 47 maybe even. But with the drama that Harden is causing, I don't know that they're going to be able to get a lot of value for him. And I think they're more so. For me, I think they're going to be that team that is happy to be in the play-in because I don't know how many games we're going to get out of Embiid this year.
Marcus, where'd you stand on Philly?
I'm gonna take the under on it. I do think that since they shut the bed in the playoffs, that it's more so about making sure that they're rested and contending for the postseason. I do see Tyrese making the jump, but I just don't see it's not really Tyrese and Joel. It's just everything else around them, and having the whole James Harden thing. I mean, that is a competent guard play, and he is still not an all-star caliber player now, but he still does bring a lot to the table in the point guard position. So they're in just a rough position.
Mm-hmm. I guess we didn't disagree all that much. I have them at 45 wins, but I have them coming in fourth in the division. So I have them doing better than Trey does in standings wise. But it's an under at 45. It's going to be interesting to see how they gel. I don't think they need Harden. The defense, I think, is going to be the key. If they can play better defensively, that's just going to. The Nick Nurse component is a huge factor in why I have them so high in the division, in the conference.
See, we should probably listen to Sean. He does not respect Fred VanVleet, but he does respect Nick Nurse. And just to bring it full circle, how are you feeling about your Raptors this year? They won 41 games last year. The over-under this year is 36.5. Are your Raptors getting to 37 wins?
They are not. I have them at 35. They are outside of the playoffs. It's a rebuilding year. We need to let Masai do what he wants to do. So Scotty Barnes has gone to 6'10", up from 6'8" in his rookie season. So he's only 19. Marcus, how are you feeling about my Raptors?
Yeah, no, I don't see it, bud. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's definitely going to be an under. I think Scotty's been quite respectfully suspect since his Rookie of the Year award, and I don't know. Besides that, who do you got? Boucher.
Yeah, we have Dennis Schroeder, World Cup champion, and Grady Dick. Yeah, no, we're not going to get the over. This was generous of Vegas. Trey, where do you have the Toronto Raptors?
Oh, I'm right there with you guys. It's the under. It's the rebuilding year, and I'm glad. I hope you at least get something for Siakam, and I hope he doesn't walk for nothing. But that's really the big question: is what team is Siakam going to end up on?
What would you put the odds at that he walks for nothing? Because that's kind of been Masai's MO. If he doesn't get $2 for his dollar, he lets the dollar walk.
I mean, I would say it's a 20% chance. If it hadn't just happened, it would be higher. But I think even though it's what Masai normally does, I think he understands how bad the optics would be if that happened 2 off seasons in a row to lose assets for nothing.
Well, wouldn't that be 3? Or how many years has Kyle Lowry been at the Heat?
I thought you traded. I thought you got.
We did. Yeah, it was a sign-in trade.
You got
he almost walked. Yeah, it was a sign-in trade. Okay, yeah, but 2 off seasons in a row for sure.
I mean, I think that you're better off just trading him at this point. Like, it's a very finite place you're going to go with a Pascal, and it's clear that it's not working anymore.
Yeah. I understand.
Now where he would go is a completely different thing. I don't have that answer for you. But.
No, that's another pod. We can dive deep into all those different spots and who we want in Toronto. But now we have the Washington Wizards, 23.5 wins. Last year was 35 wins. Vegas was not wrong with this drop. Trey, where do you have Washington?
As almost the worst team in the league. Not quite. But I think they are. No, I do have them as the worst team in
Yeah,
the league.
you do.
Actually,
You do.
I have them as the worst team in the league. I like Kuzma. I think he's going to be great on a contender after the trade deadline. And I don't have anything. They finally traded Beal. I'm glad that the process of rebuilding has finally started. But that being said, it's the first year of the rebuild.
Mm-hmm. The first thing to fix the problem is to admit you have a problem. Marcus, where do you stand on the Washington Wizards?
You know, I'm gonna get a little ambitious. I'm gonna take the over. I mean, it's only 24 games. I'm sure. I'm sure that the greatness of Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma and Denny Advita can at least get him 24 games. So,
I love it.
but if I'm wrong, I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, I had them winning 20 games. I accidentally picked up Jordan Poole in the auction draft last night. Just trying to get a bot to pay more than they should have for him, and I got stuck with the bill. So I just hope he puts up a ton of points. That's really all I have on the Washington Wizards. And that is the
That
East.
wraps it up.
That wraps it all up. We've done the West. We've done the East now. How are you guys feeling?
I'm ready to go to bed.
Facts.
All right. Well, thank you so much for checking out the Charity Stripe commentary at Hoop Social for the TikTok Hoop_social for X. You know, at the Hoop Social for the YouTube. Trey, you're on Threads. Where can people find you?
On Threads at Finally.
And Marcus?
No chill will.
No chill will. And you can't find me. No dice. Thanks, boys. Let's have a good night. And can't wait for the NBA Cup.
Yeah, buddy.